Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's Ruth Jones with the Mines Office of Alumni Engagement, and welcome to our August Lunch Bunch, or I should say, welcome back. After a brief summer break, we're back in the saddle and looking ahead to another academic year's worth of monthly programs that highlight the people and programs that make Mines great. So it's great to see you all today. We've got quite a crew, so we'll keep watching that weight room and let everybody in. If this is your first lunch bunch, welcome. We are glad to have you. Hi, Steve. Oh, it's good to see everybody's face. Turn your cameras on. We love seeing new faces every month, and of course, always appreciate the continued interest and support of our regular attendees. Today, we are shining the spotlight on all of the construction going on around campus. No doubt you've entered or encountered a few cranes, trucks, and bulldozers. For those on campus here, as you diligently look for a parking space on campus, right? Lots going on. It's an exciting time to be at Mines, all in an effort to improve and expand the resources and facilities for faculty, staff, students, and alumni. So next time you come to campus, take some time and check it out. Things are changing, and we'll continue to do so. We are delighted today to have with us Mines Executive Vice President, Chief Operating Officer, and Chief Financial Officer, Kirsten Volpe, who's going to give us an update on all of the newly opened buildings, those that are in progress, and others that are still on the drawing board. The campus has changed dramatically since the last time Kirsten spoke to Lunch Bunch 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, January of 2022. And we were kind of laughing earlier. It would be fun to go back to the Lunch Bunch page where you all registered for this program today and go to the 2022 archive and pull up her program and just see the things that she talked about 2 years ago are actually open. And here we are. So very exciting. As always, just a few quick reminders before we start the program. If you've got a question, we would ask that you hold it until the end of Kirsten's presentation. You can put it in the chat or just hang on and we'll open up the floor to questions at the end. A reminder that all of our Lunch Bunch programs are recorded. So if you have to peace out early from this one, or if you have a friend who couldn't make it today, or if you want to listen to this whole one all over again, you can do that by going to our Lunch Bunch page on the website at weare.mines.edu and click on the Lunch Bunch page. We've got quite an archive of programs now that we've been doing this virtually for the past 4 years. So if you might take a look and see if there's a topic there that you're interested in learning about. It's a great resource. Always, if you have ideas for future speakers or topics, we want to know about them. So send me an email or put it in the chat or give me a call. Anybody on our alumni engagement team would be happy to help make that happen. Okay. I'm going to stop talking and let's get started. Please help me welcome Kirsten Volpe to Lunch Bunch. Welcome, Kirsten.
Thank you, Ruth. Very much appreciated. And as she said, I'm grateful to be able to be in front of this group again. It's been 2.5 years and a lot has transpired in that 2.5 years. So just a quick update on what's going on with school right now. So the students are coming back from More Digger Camp. The freshman students moved in Sunday, Monday, and then they headed to Estes Park. Some of you on this call were up there with them. And they'll be coming back and they will be just in the nick of time for the climb tomorrow morning. So very exciting time. And then school starts Monday. So again, I can't believe it's already been here. It's already here. So we have, and I think I say this every year, another record incoming class with 1,600 first-time freshmen, about 170 transfers. And so total, we've got now about 8,000 students. So we definitely, I'm entering my 20th year here at Mines, and we definitely have changed a lot in that time frame. So as you all know, we are celebrating our 150th all year long. Homecoming is going to be an amazing time if you can come to campus, September 26th and 27th. We're going to have a huge celebration on the 27th. So very excited to continue to celebrate our 150th. So I will get to the matter at hand and go through what are some of the things that we have been doing on campus. Now, if you haven't been to campus in a while, you may not recognize it. So I will go through some current projects that as Ruth said, that we've just recently opened, and then talk about what we've got going on. I think right now we have about 5 cranes in the sky. And we have the most construction that we've had underway. We've got about $700 million of projects that are underway right now, and I will go through all of those. So very excited. We've got a few that are complete. The Labriola Innovation Complex, that is an incredible building that hopefully, if you come back for homecoming, you can take a tour if you haven't already done so. But it is really the place where our students will and are partaking in hands-on learning. It is, when you tour it, it is like a gigantic machine shop. There's everything from woodworking to metalworking to welding to 3D printing. It is just a fabulous large lab for students. It's where our first year students will have their cornerstone projects, and our seniors will have their capstone projects. But it is really an impressive facility that is now open. So very excited about that. The Beck Venture Center, and we have Zach Bennett here, who is the director of the Beck Venture Center. So Zach, thank you very much for joining. And maybe when we get to the Q&A, you can chat a little bit about what your new home means for you. But it is a place that is buzzing with startups, with new creation of ideas, and how do you get those ideas out to the market and into a place where where it can be accessed by the community. And it is really exciting. Zach is again working with a lot of new companies or individuals that are just burgeoning and starting to do their startups. And so this is really the home where companies can really start that creation and ideation, and how do we get whatever prototype or whatever they have to market. So that opened, and we are and Zach is filling the building, and that's been an incredible initiative. I'll talk a little bit. Housing is one of the areas that we are focusing quite a bit on. Right now, we can house all our first year students. We can house some of our second year, third year, and graduate students, but we are engaging in a broader plan where we want both our first and second year students to live on campus and create a lot more capacity for our upper class and graduates. So our first part of that is renovating Mines Park. Now, I don't know how many of you have been near Mines Park, but it is the apartment complex that we own that is just west of 6th Avenue and south of 19th Street. So it has, a portion of it has gotten a major remodel, renovation. And then here in a minute, I'll show you that then the remainder of it has been scraped and is going to be all new. So we've been able to really, so far the first phase is be able to complete some really important renovations because those apartments haven't been touched in years. So those, we're excited to have those 3 projects under our belt. And just in summary, a couple of the new ones that I'll talk to you about. We are building an early childhood education center. Yes, we are building a daycare center on campus. I'll give a little bit more detail there. We're also building an energy and minerals research facility. Will be our largest and most expensive building to date. But then another one will outpace it. But that one I'll go over in a little bit. And then Ruth mentioned parking. This is probably going to be the worst semester of all for parking, but we're very excited that our second parking garage is on its way, and then more classroom capacity. And then I'll dive in a little bit more, but I talked about briefly our second phase for Mines Park, and then we've got a whole separate project for our sophomores. So we've been talking for a number of years about how can we support our students and our faculty and employees in a broader way. And we live in an area where it is very expensive to live. We have a lot of employees and students that have to commute for quite a ways. And also in the Denver metro area, daycare is very expensive, and it is essentially like an 18-month wait list. So after years of analysis and studying, we decided to put a daycare in place. That project is going fantastic. It is also up in the Mines Park area west of 6th Avenue, and it will open next month in September. So we've got some anxious faculty and other employees that are ready and excited to be able to partake in our daycare center and have their children close. The parking garage, for those of you who've been on campus, we built our first parking garage a couple years ago. Because we've been building so much and because our enrollment has grown, we need more parking. We've been building on parking lots, and our employee count and our enrollment has grown. So we are now going to be opening our second parking garage. It's about 900 spaces. It is essentially between 17th and 18th Street, just west of Washington. And it is almost done. It will be done in January. Excited about that. And what we've done is we've incorporated a classroom building on the front of the parking garage to give it more of a softer look, as you will. Plus, we need capacity. But there's going to be 9 classrooms in this classroom building. Plus, we will be able to house one of our academic departments, and that's going to really help our just dire need for classroom space. And that we're hoping that will open first quarter of calendar 2025. Here's just a couple pictures. If you look on the right picture, the first building that you see that's built, that's the Beck Venture Center that I mentioned that fronts Washington. And there you can see the classroom building and the parking garage right behind it. So the Energy and Minerals Research Facility, this is a project that I've been working on personally for about 7-8 years. Many of you probably know that the USGS has 5 mission areas. And we've been talking for that period of time with the Energy and Minerals Mission Area, and their headquarters are right now in Lakewood, basically 6th Avenue and Kipling. And we've been talking about them with partnering and what that could look like. And because they were looking for a new home, we broadened our conversation to not just research or student partnering, but co-location. So we really are excited about this. We've got a very long-standing relationship with the USGS, as you can imagine, being in the square in the space that Mines mission is. And we've had the natural hazards mission area on campus for well over 40 years. Right on Illinois Street. So it makes a lot of sense for us to continue to partnership with the USGS in this space. We were very fortunate to be able to work with our federal delegation over the years. And this building, which is about 200,000 square feet, about $240 million building, it is being funded solely by the federal government. So the 2021 bipartisan infrastructure law incorporated specifically for this building to be funded and to be on the Mines campus. So we're really, really thrilled about that partnership. The building is, as you can imagine, it's an extremely complex building. There will be a significant amount of research going on here. And so we have started construction. It is starting to go vertical. And we hope that it will open fall 2026. That's what we anticipate. And one of the real benefits is that it's not just going to be for USGS. Mines will occupy about 40,000 square feet. So we will be working side by side, shoulder to shoulder with our USGS partners. And we think that only can help benefit both organizations and really the mission and the direction of where the science is going. A couple other projects, we will be adding about 1,300 new beds with Mines Park Phase 2 and with our sophomore housing. Mines Park Phase 2, you can see the kind of the rectangle on the bottom part of your screen. That was Phase 1. Those are all the renovations that I mentioned that are done. Phase 2, if you can recall, there were 5 very old, very maintenance needed buildings that that we demolished, and we are building new buildings currently. So the buildings that were there were not efficient. There were 5 buildings and only 100 beds. We're now building capacity for 600 beds. So the buildings are much larger and will be much more suitable for the student of today. There'll be recreation, laundry, dining. If you drive up 6th Avenue by Mines, that's where you see, you know, many times 2 or 3 cranes, depending on what they're doing. But those buildings are really have come out of the ground. Drywall is starting in some of the buildings. And so this will predominantly, all of Mines Park will be primarily, again, for our juniors, seniors, and our graduate students. Here's what the buildings from a rendering perspective look like, much, much larger than what we had before. And then here you can see them coming out of the ground and the kind of the current condition that we've got. They're all state-of-the-art buildings, and they're going to be, again, really something that's going to be important for our students for the future. Sophomore housing, this will guarantee that all our 1st and 2nd year students will live on campus. Right now, we only have about 300 2nd year students on campus. So this will, adding 800 beds here, we think will guarantee that all of these students can live on campus. So I don't know if you can see my red square that's up at the top right part of your screen. But this building is, if you go down 19th Street on the south side, so Fossil Trace Golf Course is to the south, and we are building, this will be our first building on that entire plot of land. So that construction is going on right now. Again, several cranes are happening there. It's starting to go vertical, but it recently just started. It is a very large, this one now, after the USGS building, will be our largest building on campus at 300,000 square feet, 800 beds. And they're going to be, we have 2 different styles, a 2-bedroom suite and then a 4-bedroom suite. So we're really excited. There's a lot of amenities. There will be rec amenities in here, as well as dining amenities, a lot of gaming amenities. Kids of today, students of today, that's what they like to do. We hit the top of our network usage the other day at 10 p.m. And we think it was because the new students were gaming all night. So, so really thrilled to be able to work on this project and provide that much needed housing for 2nd year students. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Golden is so expensive to live that once our students are finish their first year in a residence hall, then they're usually just sent out into the Golden market to find housing. And so number one, housing is very hard to find. And number two, it's very expensive. So we will be able to provide moderate rate housing right there on campus. Here's well, there's one of the cranes, but here's the construction that is going on. I think our friends in Golden are maybe a little tired of us doing construction because we frankly have it almost on every corner, but we're trying to be good neighbors and making sure that we don't impact traffic flow too much. And then in terms of planning, we do have some things that are on the burner right now, but because we've got so many projects, I'm not going to say we're taking a pause because we're not. We're being very focused on looking at what are very, very strategic positioning projects for the university. President Johnson and I are working on one of those right now. So that, so stay tuned. Maybe next time I'm on Lunch Bunch, I can give you an update on that one. But for a smaller scale, and hopefully you all will be able to come out to some games this year. You might have recalled from last year, we really started to make the west side of the football field much more accessible and much more inviting for people to be able to spread out because there's been so much attendance. So we incorporated a beer garden last year. And then this year we are expanding on that as well as putting some nicer amenities because if any of you have stood over there, there's no concession other than the beer, but there's no concession, there's no restrooms, there's no further way to spread out. So we're really trying to augment phase one into phase two. Work will actually be happening during the football season, but not, it won't impact the games, but just really excited to be able to provide the experience for those of us that go to the games and watch and how they can partake, whether in their seat or over at the beer garden or hanging out with their kids in the bouncy house. So that's, I think, something that's going to be really, really important for athletics. So that is it. That is all that we are working on. I know I went a little fast, so very happy to take questions and answer anything I can or re-show any of the slides. Just happy to engage with you all.
Question for you, Kirsten.
Yeah, Melanie.
The child care center, is that going to be open to residents of Golden as well, or just Mines related folks?
We're starting with a small conduit of people. So it's first going to be Mines employees and graduate students, and Foundation, Mines Foundation as well. And then we're also going to allow the USGS because they're going to have, they're bringing with this new facility 250 people. They already have about 85 people in the natural hazards building. So they will, but if for some reason, Melanie, and that's a great question because we've talked about this, if we can't fill it up, then we might need to open it up to the general public. But it was just really important for us to be able to try to meet the needs of those folks that are on campus. Yeah.
I've got a quick question for that new sophomore dorm with 800 beds. How will those students get across 19th Street to campus? You're going to build an overhead, a walkway, or that? Because, students are going to want to jaywalk.
Hi, Rod. So good to see you.
Hi.
You know what? That has been probably the biggest topic between Mines, ourselves, the city of Golden, the surrounding neighbors. And so we looked at multiple options multiple times. We looked at building a bridge across. We looked at building a tunnel below. If any of you have been around the Boulder campus on Broadway, they have some beautiful, nice sprawling tunnels that get the students from kind of retail space into campus. Because of the spacing, there's not enough space to do the tunnel. And the bridge was way too expensive, and the natural, and you said it, Rod, the natural progression of the students is not going to go upstairs, over a bridge, downstairs. They're going to jaywalk. So we've hired multiple traffic consultants and have worked with the city. We're going to have an on-grade crossing. It's going to be lighted so that students can, when the light's green, students can cross. When the light's red, students can't cross. And so that is what was recommended by, like I said, multiple traffic consultants, and that was a big decision, and we're really looking forward to seeing how this solution works. But yeah, they will jaywalk no matter what. But we're also putting barriers, Rod, so in the road, so there's no way for them to get across. They won't be able to jaywalk in certain areas.
Okay. Yeah, because I know if you go like a DU and you're coming down Evans, they've got those mid-block activated crosswalks. So there's a stoplight, then let students cross that street.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's going to be the same idea.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Here's a comment from my friend John. Hey, John, how about if we recruit some alumni volunteers to be crossing guards?
No,
Just kidding. Sorry.
that's a wonderful idea.
Oh, I have a question, Kirsten.
Yeah.
In my time at Mines, there have been, a street here and there, primarily down Maple Street, that has become a pedestrian walkway. I guess you can drive down it, but you're not supposed to. It's a brick paver walkway. Do you anticipate any other streets on campus that will be closed to traffic and bricked in similar fashion?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's always a conversation between us and the city of Golden, because we don't own all of the streets that go through campus. Maple we do, so that was and we actually did shut it down. Sometimes a wandering car will find its way on the paver.
Yep.
But at this point, we do not anticipate shutting down any streets. We do have pavers on 16th Street in between Coors Tech and Alderson Hall. We tried to shut that one down. The city wouldn't let us, but because there's pavers, there's much less cars.
Yeah.
What we are planning on is as you and you mentioned Maple, as you go south on Maple, cross 19th to the new student dorm, that is going to be a whole new paver system there. It's going to be beautiful. And that's where the students are going to cross.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I see there's some things in the chat. I don't know if there's any questions per se in the chat, or.
Let's see.
Oh, Steve, looks like you've got your hand up.
Yeah.
I always forget to use those little hands.
Little icons. Yeah.
Sorry, it took me a while to figure out how to put the hand up. I have a question. Since, in the last, whatever it's been, 10 years, parking has been very difficult to go to Mines. And as an alumni trying to come back and participate in things, there's just not any parking. Are you considering, now that you're adding this new, 800-900 space garage, is there any kind of consideration for alumni to have a pass or something, or parking code that when we come back to support the university, we can park somewhere. I've been finding it really, really difficult to park. And so quite honestly, my presence has dropped off over the years.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, that's a great question. And I will say, unfortunately, like this semester right now, we have not planned, we don't, it's not, something that we are excited about, but we're anticipating that this is going to be the worst semester. But to the point that you made, what we did, last year, we instituted a shuttle program. And so between our shuttle program, which actually last year, which was fall, spring semester, we had about 35,000 riders. And we sold, I think it was 1,500 less parking passes because people are taking a light rail and then the shuttle in, or, you know, taking the shuttle from wherever in Golden because this shuttle goes around Golden. So we have alleviated parking in that way. We've also built our garage 1 and our building garage 2. We haven't thought about alumni specific passes. I think that could be something that we put on the list. We do have, you know, like you can buy a day pass. But to your point, Steve, you know, especially right now, it's difficult. And really over the last 10 years, we have grown so much and we've done so much building that has really created, you know, some of the parking difficulties that we've got. But we're really hoping that 900 cars at this garage will help. And another thing that we're also hoping will help is that 800-bed sophomore dorm, they will be parking kind of behind the dorm area. They will have dedicated parking that they can only park in. So they won't be parking on the core of campus, if you will. They'll be kind of behind the residence hall. So we think that will help as well. That's 800 cars, taking those off of the core campus too. Yeah, Will, looks like you've got a question.
Another parking question. Are they going to continue with the parking fares that are all day or just half day fares?
Yes, I think, well, and I must say, I don't remember, you know, like if you go down to the city of Golden, you can pay for, it's free up to 2 hours and then you pay incremental. I don't recall if ours are that way. I think they are incremental up to $10 for the whole day. But that's something that we can look into too.
The campus used to have a system where you just paid by so many hours. And then just last year, they put it in that if you arrived before 2 o'clock, you paid all day. If you, after 2 o'clock, you just paid for a half day.
Yeah.
Is that going to continue?
Yeah, for now it is. Yeah, I've not been told of any change. Yeah. Joe Cornell, did you have your hand up? I thought I might have seen a hand. No?
Oh.
No? Okay.
Joe? Oh, did he want to, Joe, if you wanted to unmute, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, hope you
Oh.
didn't cover this. I lost connection there for a minute. Do the students, their way of getting around campus primarily or only on foot? Or do you
Yes.
have some shuttle buses from point A to point B
Oh.
or?
Yeah, that's great. So we have, we've got right now we have 3 main routes, and it is so successful that we might need to add more. So to your point, Dan, is if somebody has somebody can go from Mines Park at their house, come down to the athletics field or go to engineering hall. So we do around campus, but then we also go throughout Golden as well. So all 3 shuttle routes are, you know, primarily in and around campus itself, but then also branch out to Golden, which is where many of our students live.
Are they free? Is it a free?
It
for
is
students?
free. It is
Okay.
free. we felt very grateful that it's a three-way partnership financially, because nothing's free, somebody's got to pay for it, but it's free to the riders. So the city of Golden is paying for a third, the students are paying for a third, and then the university is paying for a third of all the costs.
Okay, last question on the survey field. Has that been impacted at all? The old
No.
survey field?
Well, so we had a generous donor that donated some funds to us to route out a cross-country course. So while not impacted by any of the construction, it's a really great place for our cross-country team to be able to have their own course. So that's the only thing that has been changed at all on the survey field.
Thank you.
Joe?
Yeah, I did have a question. You said there were 1,600 freshmen in transfers this year?
So 1,600 freshmen and about 170 transfer students. So all in all, about 1,770 new people coming to campus. Yes.
So what's the total enrollment?
Word about it, we're a little over 8,000. We hit the 8,000 mark.
So has it been discussed as to cap enrollment? Because obviously we're landlocked. You're not going to be able to stuff any more buildings in the footprint
Right.
or afford any more big buildings and parking garages and yada, yada, yada. So are they going to cap enrollment at the school?
Well, don't laugh at me, but we've been capping enrollment for probably the last 10 years. And it is, we are benefiting from our incredible success and students wanting to be here. But Joe, you're exactly right. We started capping at 1,000 new students. And it's such a tricky, it's such a tricky number to hit because you're dealing with student behavior. So for instance, this coming year, there was a lot of issues with the federal government, with the FAFSA form, and with changing how they were going to do financial aid for lower income students. And a lot of the students around the country were just sitting aside and not going to college or going late. A lot of universities are down. For us, again, it's a record year. We have been capping it every year. We even several years ago accepted less students to try to get the number down, but then even more, we call it yielded, where if we give them an offer, they accept. So right now it's, we are doing our darndest to cap, but it's a really a complex and really a tricky measure to make because it's solely based on student behavior.
Okay. And then I did have a parking question for homecoming. Where are all the people expected to park?
So the meeting,
I
yeah,
usually
the
go to the
meeting I
homecoming
had,
games
yeah.
and my wife, we use a handicap pass and
Yep.
they took over all the spaces next to the stadium for the quarterback club. So all those used to be handicap spaces and
Mhm,
it was not, she can't walk that far
mhm.
up and down the hills. And is there going to be a shuttle for dedicated spaces for the game and stuff?
Yeah, so that's what we've been able to do with the institution of our shuttle program is using them for games just for that point. And you are right, Joe, that is the meeting I had before this call with you all today was about September, specifically the 26th and 27th, which is and 28th, which is the homecoming football game. 27th is our big celebration. And 26th is our Foundation Board of Governor meeting. So we've got a lot going on those 3 days. And so our team is strategizing on how to address the parking needs. So stay tuned, but the shuttle system will most definitely be in full swing during those times to make sure that we can get folks from maybe a not so close location right to where they need to be.
So you're gonna announce where those other locations are gonna be, or when will that be announced?
We will. We just, the team was, met with me today. They're pulling together a plan. So I'm hoping that, within the next, probably the first week of September, we will have much more clarity. And then that will absolutely be on the website and announced.
I see a comment in the chat, but I think you've already addressed it, Kirsten.
Okay.
Scott Brooks, asking about, he is south of Mines Park. He notices a road that's cut through that area and earth moving being done. I think that's what you were referring to with the cross-country course.
No, so that's
This is
a,
different.
yeah, that's gonna be,
Oh.
it doesn't look very good because there's earth that has moved down, it's on the top of a hill. That's just a small parking lot, which
Okay.
has been a topic, frankly, of many, many meetings. But that's just a small parking lot that's next to that little building. Yeah, it looks a lot more because the dirt got pushed down the hill, so it looks much more intrusive.
I did have a question about Mines Park. The buildings that you said as a second phase, the Infinity Circle buildings, are those being torn down?
Those were torn down, yes, those were torn down and the new buildings are coming up, yes. Yeah.
That's where my son stayed when he was a freshman there, so.
Oh,
So
darn, we could have kept a brick or something for him.
Yeah.
Is the Amex building still just west of the highway there? Or is that part of campus now? There was a research lab there. I know there's a Molly Road named after molybdenum, I'm sure, but
Oh, yes, yep, so you're right, Molly Road, and that building is called the Molly Building. But then, so there's an administration building that we bought, which is there, and then at the southwest corner, I think that you're mentioning, Dan, is a water treatment research facility that one of our faculty members, Zahi Kath, operates, and that's still there. That is still in operation.
I see a question in the chat from Vincent Wood. Will there be superchargers in the new parking structure?
So superchargers meaning for EV, yes, there will. And we also are have laid the infrastructure for even more. So what's gonna be there day one? Gosh, I can't remember the number, maybe it's 30. But the infrastructure is in the parking structure to be able to create more EV stations in the future.
Great. I have a question.
Yes, Ruth?
We have, in my time here, there have been so many new buildings, and it's exciting. There's so many more coming. Are there any buildings or resources that are still on the radar that, boy, wouldn't it be nice, but we haven't addressed it yet, that are out there? I mean, we've got so many great partnerships with government agencies and with, you know, the La Briola Center. We've upgraded the football facilities. We've got student housing kind of covered. We're covering a lot of bases, but are there still things that are on maybe mine's wish list or yours where you think, wow, this is one thing we don't have and we really need?
Yeah, I mean, great question. And just so everybody knows, the construction that we do and the planning that we do is really based on a master plan. So we do a master plan and update it every 5 years to say, okay, where's the university headed? What might our needs be in the future? Where might these facilities and buildings go? So Ruth, great question. One of the areas that we're not able to address yet is indoor recreation for our students. As you can imagine, with so many more students, we've got the wonderful student rec center, but it is beyond overcapacity, which is why we're building, I would say, smaller recreation centers more hotel size type in the new residence halls. But court space is something that we're sorely missing. So we are looking at what
Mhm.
could it look like to put up not a major rec center, but something that can support our students' needs. So that's an area that that really is a strong need. We just haven't, you know, with everything else going on, we're starting to focus on that. But you know, the funding part for us is difficult. Like I said, we've got about 700 million of projects underway. And from a financial standpoint, we're sort of at a stopping point. And so that's one component is rec.
Yeah.
So that's and the other, you know, the other one is definitely not a glamorous project at all. It's all the utilities infrastructure. So all these new buildings are going up. We need to get fiber and steam and chilled water and et cetera to all these buildings. And so we're spending a lot of money underground. And that's not exciting, but it's necessary. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. I do see another comment in the chat, and some of you can see this too. Will the new parking garage be yellow or blue parking permits for staff? Do you know
Oh,
yet?
goodness. I do not know.
Okay.
And I
Yay,
do know we're
Karen.
going to be changing all of that, not this year, but you know, I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Karen, if it helps any, I have a blue parking permit and I can park in the existing parking garage. So perhaps the new one coming online will follow suit. Don't know. Oh, Mark with parking services. Mark knows the
Oh,
answer.
Mark is
Hi,
on.
Mark.
Well done, Mark.
I can answer that. At present, it's expected to be at the blue permit level.
Great.
Thank you.
Who else has a question or a comment? Anybody? Okay. If you think of something here in the next 5 minutes or so, throw it in the chat. We'll try to get to it before we close out. But I wanted to, while we're all still here on the call, put in a plug for next month's program, next month's Lunch Bunch program, which is taking place Thursday, September 19th. It's always the third Thursday from noon to 1. Our speaker will be David Wright, who is the Assistant VP for Global Education here at Mines. And he's going to share with us an overview of Mines Fulbright Scholars program. What it is, where are they from, where are they going, what are they studying, what's it all about? New territory for me. I don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm anxious to learn, and I hope you will be too. You can register for this program very soon. We haven't posted it yet on the Lunch Bunch page of our website, but it will be there probably in the next week or so. So be sure to check that. It'll also be on the weare.mines.edu website, which is our alumni and foundation website, on the events page. So you can find it there as well. So we hope you'll join us. Again, that's Thursday, September 19th from noon to 1 on Zoom. Does anyone else have a question or a comment with regard to today's program? Okay, I know this is a lot to take in, right? There's so much happening on campus. If you haven't been here in a while, please call ahead. We'll make sure to find a parking spot for you, right, Mark? And we'd love to walk you around and show you all the new bells and whistles. It's an exciting time to be here. And we can hardly wait for all these students to get in the groove starting Monday with classes to see all of the new spaces and take advantage of the wonderful new resources that have been made available. So thank you all. With that, I also, of course, want to thank Kirsten for her time today. You've got a full plate today, as do all of the administrators with the beginning of a new academic year. So we appreciate your carving out time today. And like I said earlier on this call, I'm going to go back and listen to the January 2022 edition of Lunch Bunch and just see your report back then and see how far we've come. It's just huge. So much has changed. We appreciate it. And anybody else? I think we'll say goodbye. Oh, Will has a quick comment. Yes, Will. Turn your microphone on. Will, we can't hear you. You need to unmute.
One of the things we're trying to
Okay.
do as the class of 74 is try to put together a map of what the campus looked like in 74 and compare it to today's
Oh.
campus.
Wow.
And have that as a display that people can look at and show what has changed in 50 years. Believe me, it'll be a lot.
Wow. That's going to be
Do we-
incredible.
Kirsten, do we have blueprints or a map from 74 in the archives somewhere? Do you know? Campus
They have
construction
found one.
office or-
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
they have found one, but now they've just got to do a comparison shot and come up with what the differences are. But
think
probably
that would
about
be
a third of
great.
the campus is different.
Yeah, I think that would be really fun to look at. All right, y'all, we'll have a great day. I'm giving you 6 minutes of your lunch hour back if you're taking a break from work or whatnot. So appreciate you being here today, and we hope to see many of you next month. Again, September 19th, noon to 1. Go War Diggers. Have a great one.